Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And we're going to be taking a look at something super dope. It's going to be the Radikal Forze Jam of 2024, the 3v3 open style finals. I believe it's between like HozinKaBuki and Radikal versus Happy Boys, which would be like Sean Lu, The Crown, and D Soraki. Right? So I'm pretty pumped about this for a couple of reasons. You basically got Team Red Bull on one side, and then you got a little bit of Street Dance China represented, especially from season 4. I did see Radikal and Ibuki were on the same season. And then with Hozin, I know he has a studio that's out of Korea, and I ended up taking a class in that studio when I was there recently. So I think that's just super dope. So I'm pretty excited to look at this. Just know a couple of things. Firstly, I am a choreographer and an educator. I am not a professional battler. I have battled, I have freestyled, I've done ciphers, I've organized events. I've done those things, but I would not equate myself to somebody who has acquired any credentials or that type of sense to the degree of being able to look at a battle and have any sort of individuals. Like, I'm not a Mr. Wiggles, do you know what I mean? But I do have enough experience to be able to kind of, you know, be able to feel that was dope, that was lame, but this is gonna be like the coolest thing ever. So I'm pretty pumped about it, and I do know that Ibuki, Radikal, and Hozin do end up winning this, so I already know the results. So we're gonna, if anything, let's just try to figure out, well, what about, you know, why do they win? Like, was it great, was it not? Like, it's gonna be awesome, like, we know this. So let's just go ahead and check it out. Hey, there's Chad, Mayate. So cool. Oh, she got musicality on her side on this one. Oh my gosh. Okay, so if I'm just gonna we can do just like a little overview, because remember, I'm not comfortable whenever I watch battles now. I'm not like as comfortable unless it's choreographed to like go and analyze it, because remember, I come from like a heavy choreography toolkit lens where I look at things and how they're structured and that kind of stuff. When it comes to a jam and how judges judge jams and how they judge battles, it is very different. And so out of respect for that, like, I'll just do kind of an overview of, for me, like who I would pick. Out of that round, both were phenomenal. I would go with Ibuki for that because of the musicality of it, and the music and the syncopation and the difficulty of hitting the music as unpredictably as it was. I mean, it made it how she hit to the degree that she did was very difficult. Both were polyrhythmic in nature, but the degree of the polyrhythms and the density of them, for me, I think Ibuki, it worked in her favor on the track. But the Crown, when it comes to vibes and setting up that tone, was divine. I think that was one of my favorite rounds I've ever seen of the Crown, was that right there. That was incredible. Incredible. Oh, my gut tells me Radika's gonna come out. Wow. Ooh. Woo. Ugh. So fun. All right, here we go. It's Radika. This is crazy seeing Radika in 2024, because I'm right now looking at Radika from like what, 2021, 2020, from season 4. Stable. Oh, that was risky. That was cool. Oh! Wow! I love the exchange. God, this is amazing. Wow. Okay, for that one, oh man, I think it's kind of that's a toss-up. Dieselrocky had an incredible setup. They both had really incredible musicality moments. Oh man, that one maybe, I mean, for me, that may be like a preference thing. If you were to, I mean, for me, I do tailor and I weigh heavier musicality and how your techniques on the difficulty side, like the digestibility of what you're doing, how cohesive it is, those types of things. And because it's open, and really any style goes, you know what I mean? So I know Dieselrocky has like a heavy hip hop background, so does Radika. So that rock and the bounce on both sides were incredible. I would say Dieselrocky went all the way through his time, Radika didn't. I don't think it really matters as much. I think Radika he had maybe one more like little punch, you know. So if you're thinking about like, you know, beat kills, or if you're thinking about those types of musicality interactions of their techniques, if you're thinking of it like punches, I would say Dieselrocky got a couple punches in. Radika, I think, got like one more extra little punch in. And no, it's not because I know that they obviously, like, I know that they win, but when you look at it, like, Dieselrocky put up one freaking heck of a fight. So did Crown. Like, this is like one of the best battles I've seen so far in a very long time. Like, this is such an incredible exchange. It makes me really, really happy. So I don't have any qualms with this. For me, I don't know how they're judging it, like if they're going through all of it and then they're picking a winner, but if I'm itemizing it, so for me, my vote, I would probably give to Radika, because his beginning, I would say Dieselrocky had a leg up in his beginning compared to Radika, but I think near the tail end, Radika had some, like, it was with the pats. Once those pats started, that motivation, that momentum jumped a little bit higher for me. So that was super, 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 super dope. Okay, so it'll be Sean and Hozin. This will be interesting. in socks too. That's just what makes it so impressive. Woo! Yeah. Cool. Okay. Here we go. It's been a hot minute since I've seen his dancing. Okay, so I think the round did go to Hosin for that, because when you think about where Sean placed his vibrations, they weren't as placed in the section. Like it was very tricky to hit that type of track on how Sean moves. Side note, if you want to dance like Sean, when it comes to the physicality of it, it is so, because I watched, they had a mini-series, he did a little mini-series with Carl, his personal trainer. That mess was so fun and captivating to watch, and I learned so much as a human and as an artist myself in that. So if you're an individual who admires Sean, I do, on his choreography especially, but I love the fact that he's integrated himself into the freestyle scene as well. I love that. I always think it's so... There's a lot of degrees of humility that is required in order to do that, and I just have so much respect for Sean for that, and he's held his own incredibly. You know what I mean? Like this, they both held their own so well. I do think it worked in Hozin's favor, and I think if you think about it too, when you go does matter a lot of times too, because when you think about a 3v3, you have to have 3 people. You don't want everybody to be equally, like, not equally yoked, but like you want people to be able to specialize in different styles, right? Because that's what worked in, I think, Ibuki's team's favor, is because Radikal really tears more towards that hip hop rock and bounce. Ibuki does more whacking, but she can add a lot of extra funk into it outside of, she can polyrhythmicize her whacking, very similar to Waxy. And then you have Hozin, who is really heavy and popping. So they all cater different styles. So depending on the type of track it is and the BPM that calls for it, I mean, I would say you can have some overlap with, they can hold their own in house and that kind of stuff. But you do have more of a melting pot, however, in movements and in variants on like Disaraki and Sean's side in the crown, where they can handle really when it comes to like variety of music, both groups can do it very well. But also when you think about, Hozin had time to listen and process through the track, Sean didn't. And so for me, it is harder to go first. It is. And because you have to like calibrate the song to you, but also like kill it, and Sean killed it. But if you're looking at the micro nuances between the two, Hozin, when he placed his vibrations and how he progressed through them through his waving and his ticking, not only do I think he did ticking, I think he did more so, like he did a lot of isolations, a lot of fixed points. So did Sean, but Hozin also was able to be influenced by Sean and do a lot of these types of fixed point variants with the wrists and how he progressed it up. So that's just my, once again, it's something that like I do analyze movement often. However, I'm not an individual who can look at this and with the type of like battle judge. I don't have battle judge respect. Does that make sense? I'm not a battle judge, and that's fine. I deal with choreography. But when you look at movement quality, that's something that does have a common denominator of, you have to think cohesiveness. Because for me, I'm a waver. So something that we really care about is the flow and making sure it makes sense. So how you connect your waves and how you digest the techniques and how digestible is it. That is a common denominator in choreography and in freestyle. So I think that's totally something that we can bring as a factor that can be, you know, when somebody cites with somebody versus another, how digestible was it? I think both of them were digestible. I think Hosin, his felt a little bit more in tune and calibrated to the track specifically for this specific round. But Sean did a fantastic job with that. Gosh, this is such a fun battle! This is a breaking beat. Yeah. Smart. Nice! Yes, yeah, that would be me too! That was nice, yeah. That was fun, so fun. Yeah, Rashka's coming back out to play. Here we go. That was cool. That was cool. That was more even. That was like way more even, I think, for this one. Like their matchup, I think every time was the closest call. So for me, I could potentially tie that. Like that was really, really enjoyable. Also, side note, something like I mentioned this whenever I covered Red Bull. Yes, I did go through that one and like talk through the technicalities and whatever. But in this one, I'm still totally fine with just doing overview with this. Yes, you had more level representation from Radikal on the side, and then Disaraki did a lot of writing on the lyricism. A lot of that I have heard from people that a lot of times Disaraki and like in Japanese, a lot of Japanese dancers really cater towards like lyricism and how they impact on the lyrics. And I know I learned this from Street Dance China, funnily enough, with Chino Suri, like just like the Chinese folk, or just how Chinese choreographers a lot of times focus more on the lyricism and the storyline. A lot of times, like, that's something that is an influence on them. Like, they're not the only ones, of course. Like, I'm just saying that that's like kind of a common theme that you see in a lot of Chinese choreographers. But I'm speaking about a Street Dance China lens on what they've projected. So please do not think that I'm coming at it from like this absolute, I'm still learning so much. Anyway, but for me, I would give that was really, really enjoyable. I think both killed it in their own way. And I think both, that would have been a tie. That was super great. But also factor, I think this was my note, and I said this about the Red Bull dancer style as well. Factor in that with, we're only seeing finals, but they've had semifinals, top 8, top 16, top 32. Like there's a lot of, I don't know the structure of this one specifically, but we cannot ignore the fact that I don't know what factors have already been repeated in fingerprints and in textures. So that's another thing too, is that just because if I'm seeing it the first time right here, right now, if I go look back at a semis for this, would it have, are there going to be some repeats and movement progressions? Now, these guys are all world class. Every single one of them are. The factor, though, is you do end up having some repetitive fingerprints depending on the type of track it is. You're human. That's life. You know what I mean? And over time, you do get better at it, or you know how to modify and adjust it. But everybody from Ibuki to Waxy to, Lip J to even Boo Boo, like you see the fingerprint representation all the time. That's not a bad thing. It's just it's a creativity, stamina thing. Like I don't know how much saturation these judges have had with these participants it's different than me. For me, I'm looking at this for the first time today, right? And so I'm going to have a very different lens than what the judges are looking at and looking for, not just because of the toolkits that I'm used to operating out of from whenever I look at something as objectively as I can within my scope. You know, battle judges look at things very differently, or they have some overlap, but they look at it to their scales are slightly different, you know? And I think that's absolutely okay. So all that to say, for that, all that, like, both held it down so well, and I liked it, and I did think they did choose to ride different parts of the rhythm, and I think part of that comes from what they vibe through, and they both stopped when they felt like stopping. I love the exchange on that. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Snaps for both on that. That was incredible. So I think Ibuki may take this one, but the BPM is really nice for that. Ooh, Sean taking that one too? Okay. Oh, he knows, yeah? A little bit of popping. Oh, he's going over all of them. I love it. That was nice. Love that. He added a little head ISO in that too. Whee! Ooh, this track's so cool. That was fun. Oh, look at her, Miss Vogue, in her little catwalk variant. Okay. Wow, because I'm like, once again, I'm looking at, I did see Ibuki from season 6 of Street Dance China, but that was cute. But I'm now like saturated in her movement quality of season 4 right now. And, which is like 4 years ago. Gosh, she is so, like, her movement's matured. And the texture is so beautifully. Ugh. Okay. Both were great. I did notice a little bit of ambidextrous groove, so whenever I say that, it could be completely wrong, and that's my apologies. But I, with Sean, there was a couple of, like, he repeated things kind of on both sides a little bit more. Here's the thing, this is astronomically fatiguing doing a tournament of any kind. It's just fatiguing. So it's not only there's a creativity stamina that's required of you to showcase different terminology and vocabulary and different sentence structures of movement, but you also have individuals that, what's the word, Jess, use your brain. But you also have the physicality, the physical stamina as well. It's like whenever you are exploring certain things, it can be more fatiguing in one area versus another, especially depending on your fluency of that particular movement quality, right? So all that to say, like, Ibuki is very familiar with how she can grow herself in that area, and she is very seasoned in the battle circuit in many, many, many different facets. Sean is as well, but I will say that it's not that I can tell, but I can feel or catch a sense of he has a bit of fatigue in the sense of, like, not really even creativity stamina, but it's how he hits it. I love the fact that he did whacking to Ibuki and then popping to Hozen and then showcased his own style. I love that he rode the rhythm the way that he did. I can see a lot of influence of those around him. I love that. I love his movement quality so much. He's one of my favorite movers in general, watching Sean. It's wonderful to analyze him all the time, and especially in the choreographic front. And then with Ibuki, it just goes back to a very similar case of what happened with Crown and Ibuki. Crown held it down so freaking well, so did Ibuki. The difference is, I think Ibuki had a lot of opportunities within her music, and she took advantage of it. So did Crown, but she had a lot of, like, really, really intricate syncopation choices that worked in her favor because of how they were hit and how she chose to hit them within her textures and dynamics. Now, going into how she broke it down, she switched up her style as well. So she was very strong and showed competency in her complexity. But once again, I don't know how much of those variants or sequences or vocabulary did she do in previous rounds, same to Sean, right? And then whenever she switched it and did a little bit more in the drop, she switched up the style and changed the pacing of it. She did something very similar to what Sean did, but she was able to do it in a way that was still very collaborative and cohesive to what she was doing, just like with Sean. So these are all very, very close, but for me, I would give the round for this particular instance to Ibuki. Woo, here we go. So this would be naturally Hozen and Crown. Wow. Oh. Wow. So this should work in Crown's favor because of the track it is. He knows he does so good on this style. I'm a piano baby. Let's go. Little house influence. Love it. Yep, this is a remix track. Golly! Ugh. A little network on that bad boy. Ooh! Okay, what's he gonna do here? Wow, he's doing very good on this. Sheesh. Oh, is that Yunji? Hi, girl. 2, 1. Golly, that was, yeah. Like, so for me, I love that battle so freaking much. Do I think it was a tie or close to a tie? I personally don't think so. I think for most of the rounds, with the exception, honestly, I think the closest round matchup was between Dieselrocky and Rachka both times. And I would say Crown took that. I think Crown, the essence of that, like if you're talking essence, Crown took it. If you're looking for complexity of hitting musicality in a innovative way, Hozen took it, right? But it just goes back to, you can make whatever criteria you want to judge these types of things. We just go off of whatever the judges decide. For me, when you look at like basic stuff of complexity of what you bring, the creativity within what you bring to, and that stems from the creative stamina. You look at variants and those types of things that helps with complexity, musicality, innovation, of course, usage of levels. You want to have captivation, and of course the audience does play a role, but they don't have the deciding factor. It's not like Red Bull Dance Your Style. It's you have people on your panel, right? And a lot of them are heavily respected. I don't even know who the judges were for this, but this was incredible. I love this exchange so much, and it was actually pretty beautiful for me to be able to see Radikal and Ibuki specifically, because right now I'm right in the middle of Street Dance China season 4. I'm like, I just finished episode 7. I know it's heavier on the choreography there, but I have seen them do battles on that show, and it is very different, of course, than this. But it is so nice to see from where they were. Like, that was the first time I've seen Radikal was in that season. Ibuki, I saw her in season 6, and I've just known her over the year. She's incredible. But going from that to seeing them here, just the maturity of their movement and just how they're able to explore just music, it's just so, it just makes me like, it makes my heart so happy to see that, because I love people who are just artists and who love dance, and I love dance too, and that's why I make these videos. It's just to enjoy it and looking at it and trying to make some sense to what we look at. And for me, it doesn't surprise me at all that they won, and I think it was justly deserved. And I think was it Happy Boys, so like with Sean and Crown and Disaraki, they held it down really well. I think that the pairing of Hosin, Ibuki, and Radikal, they have really, really strong fundamentals within their respective styles, and song choice really helped with them. I think the most out-of-pocket song that was the highest risk was Hosin 2 Water remix, but I think at that point it was... Even if Crown completely decimated that round, I still think it would have gone to them, because that first round, it was very like, they held it down in every freaking track. So but that doesn't even negate the fact of how what just happened was beautiful. And that made my heart so happy to just be able to find so much joy in watching what just took place. This was incredible. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. If you want to see me take a look at other battles or these individuals who do choreography, I have a lot of it on YouTube, but I was referencing Street Dance China. I have a lot of that. Most of it is going to be on Patreon, because YouTube hates it when I post anything SDC related. So I have some of it from season 6 on YouTube, but I don't know how much of it is relevant to this. But all that to say, I have so much enjoyment for looking at movement quality, looking at people who are artists and who are innovators of their craft, and it's inspiring for me, but it also allows me the opportunity to figure out different ways of understanding movement and understanding just culture, and just seeing people from all over the world be able to take these crafts and be able to turn them into something beautiful. And art is just nothing short of incredible, and a privilege for me to be in this position to be able to talk about it. So once again, my name is Jess. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.